Hey everybody, it's Lauren. Welcome back to Caught Up in the Book with Lauren. Today I am bringing you a video that actually is about a movie that has prevented me from being caught up in the book. Okay? Um, so this is a very popular movie right now on Netflix by the name of Straw, and it is by Tyler Perry. Matter of fact, let's give the proper title of the movie. Tyler Perry's Straw. Okay. So, very popular movie, a lot of commentary about the movie. So, I watched the movie, I think that first weekend that it was out, and initially I was like, okay, for Tyler Perry, this is a good movie. For a non-Medea movie, this is a good movie. Um, it was good because it was lacking certain things like a whole bunch of singing that can come with a Tyler Perry movie. It wasn't like silly, goofy, There wasn't some of the tropes that you get with Tyler Perry, but I did hear some people talking about, a mean dark skinned man. Definitely check that box. And then also, like you don't know my story type vibes or feel. Definitely got that. But I mean, this is gonna be one of those ones, those ones. So the movie, I guess this would be kind of spoilers. It's not lacking spoilers, but yeah, it's definitely spoilers now that I think about it. There's no way to talk about it without spoiling it. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want it to be spoiled, then come back and watch this video later. I know I'm probably late to the train, but the train of talking about the movie, especially when, I usually review books, but I think there's a little crossover here. Tyler Perry is a writer. He writes, directs, produces pretty much all of his stuff. And I think collectively, the majority of people kind of agree that it would not hurt. He would definitely benefit if he maybe had a little more input in the writer's room. Tyler doesn't need help producing. Producing is usually, where the money comes in. You're a billionaire. You got that. You got it. Okay? You got it. Tyler directing, eh, I guess maybe he need help more editing because some of the things I've heard in the past about like, lights and what do they call them? Grips or graphs. Some of the things like that where you can see like background or he probably needs more help with editing than anything. So yes, you can edit. I mean, yes, you can direct. Maybe you need a little help with editing. Um, he also writes, directs, produce. Where he needs the most help at, I think the majority of people would say is maybe writing. Writing. I will say that across the board, if it's a Tyler Perry production, it has a sound. It sounds maybe like Tyler Perry and how he grew up talking or the people that he knows. So it's not like he has a voice. Some people have a voice. Think about Ryan Coogler. He has a voice, but you don't hear that in every movie that he does. Think about Wakanda versus Creed. Like in Creed, very Cali inspired all the things, but Wakanda forever and Wakanda totally different. So Ryan Coogler is an example of how I know he participates in the writing and the producing spectrum of things, but he's a director who's multifaceted also. But you cannot say that all his work has the same vibe. And so another person, Spike Lee. I know he directs. I don't know what he does beyond directing as far as like producing and writing things like that. But you can't say every Spike Lee joint has the same vibe, or you know off the rip that it's a Spike Lee joint just by listening to it. With Spike Lee, if I'm not mistaken, more than anything, you may know that it's his work by looking at it. He always does the little moving, walking shot where the people are not actually walking, but they're kind of like floating, rolling on something. He always has one of those shots in his movies, so that's one of his signatures. But my point again is that Tyler could use a little help in the writer's room. Tyler's main audience seems to be women. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Women need to be catered to, okay? He has given that Black Lifetime-esque vibe wherever he goes. He did it with TBS, he did it with OWN Network, and now he's bringing it to even bigger platforms like a Netflix, Amazon Prime, all the things, and of course at the movie theater. And I'm not mad at it. I'm not really here to critique Tyler overall, but I am critiquing this particular movie. Because the movie, the theme that everybody talks about is sisterhood, sisterhood, sisterhood. I got to see these sisters and this, that, and the other. And I was like, wait, did I miss the memo? Did I miss the memo? I think I missed the memo about the sisterhood aspect of it. Because, I mean, I have a sister, I have a stepsister, I have cousins, I have a mother, I am a mother. I get, I'm an auntie, I get the sisterhood element of it. I know how sisterhood works. I live in a sisterhood of sorts. But I didn't really see much sisterhood in the way that I would have expected it or wanted to see it in a movie such as Straw under the circumstances that are similar to Straw. So I think when people say sisterhood, they're talking about how Sherry Shepherd was, kind, understanding, patient, gentle, all the things that she was in the movie. And her character's name is Nicole. Shout out to Sherry Shepherd for doing a great job. Um, Probably coming out of her comfort zone and playing a more serious acting role. She's a comedian at heart, so maybe being funny comes easy to her, and this was just a step outside of her norm. But yes, she did do a great job in the movie. I want to say Sherry kind of made the movie as far as I'm concerned. Also, what other element of sisterhood is there in the movie when Janaya, who is played by Taraji P. Henson, when her coworker tried to give her $20. And she was like, you doing bad yourself. Or you need the money yourself. And she just insisted, take the $20. You have a sick kid. Maybe I got, generally healthy kids, or maybe I don't have no kids. Maybe, like she said, I can spare it. I can spare it. I understand that. That was a display of sisterhood. Me and my coworkers, sometimes my coworker, yeah, rent comes every every month, and sometimes I feel like rent surprises her. But we will do little swaps. Oh, I'm gonna get the drinks today. You gonna get the drinks today? Look what I found. I'm gonna get us some chips. Or we always share. We have something shareable. We always share. Or taste this. I made this. I had some leftovers. This, that, and the other. I like to bake, so I like to bring my coworkers my little creations. Tell me what you think. I hope you like it. That type of thing. That's a sisterhoodly vibe that we have at my place of employment. But so I wasn't like surprised by that, but I wasn't surprised by seeing it in the movie, but it is an example of sisterhood because I haven't seen a whole lot of sisterhood in the movie. The sisterhood that I was expecting maybe is what I should emphasize. So, or that I would expect under the circumstances. That's it. With Tiana, I guess you could say there's a level of sisterhood there when it's like, I understand, I see you, I remember being in almost the exact same shoes as you. But even with Tiana's character, her being a detective, I had to question it the whole time because if I was a detective, a good detective, and I had my wig together, y'all not gonna talk about me in no Tyler Perry movie, okay? I'm gonna have my wig together, I'm gonna have my makeup together, I'm gonna be fly, my body together, I'm gonna look good, I'm gonna be that detective. I'm also gonna say whatever the hell I gotta say to get this situation together. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna tell you what you need to hear from me so that you think that we're friends and we go from there. I was seriously waiting for Tiana when her partner, that guy, pulled her out and was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." I was waiting for her to be like, "Man, I was just saying." I was lying. Ain't none of that true. Okay, if she think it's true, as long as we get the results that we're looking for, it's all good. Okay, she was sisterly or whatever when she, handcuffed her. Nice to meet you, but that was just being, like a good human. You know what I'm saying? Treating people the way you want to be treated, as they say. So I don't know. So those are the examples of like random or a little bit of sisterhood that I did see in the movie. But let me tell you what I was expecting. Okay. Let me tell you what I was expecting under the circumstances, especially. This lady, her daughter died. And we have to assume that it's under sudden, sorry, it's under sudden circumstances. She wasn't expecting to take that little girl to the hospital and then not come home with her. That's that's evident by how she acted afterwards. Okay. Leaving with the baby's blanket, it made sense to me. I'm not, some people might want to leave the blanket with the baby, let them have their blanket. But I see how she could take it home. It's got your baby's smell on it. It might still be warm. All the things, the memories. So I see how you would still want to take the blanket. But coming home, cooking food, like in the beginning of the movie, we see like a partially eaten bowl of noodles and then basically a full bowl of noodles. That was baby girl's bowl of noodles. I can't think of her name right now. Baby girl didn't eat. But her mom came home after that hospital and made a plate for both of them. And that is out of like straight up routine. Being stuck in a routine, it's a combination of being in a routine, your motherly routine. This is just what you do. We come home, we eat, go to bed, we wake up, bathe, this, that, and brush your teeth, we have shoes, go, back out the door. And I'm gonna go to work and we're gonna come back home, we're gonna do it all again. That's an element of motherhood or parenthood, I guess, in general, that it can be, you know, um, institutionalized or structured to the point where it's just like you're checking a box, check, 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 dinner, shoes, clothes, iron, wash, bathe, everybody sleep up. It could be like that. But also that's where the whatever her psychiatric issue is, because I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've heard anybody say like what the actual like psychosis of it all is. Cause on the surface it's like, oh, she was in denial. That's not what it was given. There was something mentally broken in that situation. So, her leaving that hospital, her daughter dying, I feel like where we should see the sisterhood, because her mother and her mother knew. If no one else knew, her mother knew. And I feel like even though the mother is hurting to a degree, your granddaughter passed away, your daughter's child passed away. It's you gonna have to be there for your baby. Who was there for Janiyah in her inner circle? You see what I'm saying? Her, what was her mama, her sister, her cousins, even that friend at coworker. If that was, because some of the stuff is continuity, we don't know if it was like imagined or real. But if her coworker knew her daughter, why her boss? Why are you at work? Why are you here? This is not a grandmother that may have been sick already, and maybe you only got a certain amount of PTO, so you're going to come on and go to work so that when it's time to be at the funeral and do the things you're going to be available, you'll have that time. This is not that situation. This is your child suddenly dying. You don't need to be. I don't want to see you at work. I don't need you here. Okay, where are the people that's bringing the plates and the food and the care and you know, the church people, I'm coming to pray with you. I'm coming to be your shoulder to lean on. When people die, from my experience, and I'm from the South, and because it's Tyler Perry, and like it was, I'm from Atlanta, so I know exactly where he filmed this particular movie, so it automatically gets kind of skewed for me because it's like, that's where it happened over there. So I don't know what it was supposed to be set in, but let's just say it's the South. I just don't know of many situations where people would have to necessarily go by themselves after something like your child dying. Okay. I give her neighbors maybe a little bit of a pass. Um, because I know if I knew my neighbor has children next to me. If I knew one of them passed, and I knew maybe she didn't have the best family relationship or whatever the situation is, either way, as a neighbor, I'm coming to knock on the door. I'm coming to leave a note to tell you if you need something, let me know. I'm coming to bring the cake. I told you I like to bake. Bring a piece of cake. That cake ain't gonna necessarily help, but it's not gonna hurt. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna bring some chicken, a meal. Here you go. Put it in the freezer. The lasagna, little casserole. Here you go. Like a lot of times people don't have money to bury people. I ain't got nothing but a 20, but here you go. I'm gonna be like the coworker. I got this little 20. Here you go. Um, like I see how she had her issue enough to not even, if you can't even process the fact that your child is not here, is no longer here, of course you're not thinking about a funeral or a service or a this or that. So I can't quote unquote blame her and be like, why you not planning your child's funeral? Why you not getting something together for your child to send them off? But why isn't her mother doing it? Why isn't the grandma doing it? She said she had a sister. There is no way I could have not seen my sister for 100 years, not talked to my sister for 100 years. My sister could have blacked my eye and I could have broken her rib. Whatever it was. If something like this happened, all that is null and void. Okay? Until, I mean, if you want to be petty and bring it up after the fact, like we done buried somebody and now you good, you got, or whatever, 6 months later, okay, maybe. But if I was in that, if it was me and that was my sister, and one of us is crazy. Janaya was actually crazy to a degree, you know what I'm saying? Even if it was temporary. She said her mom and her sister were crazy. Even if somebody is quote unquote crazy, under these circumstances, I'm gonna give you a pass. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you a pass. I'm gonna be there for you. My sister, my cousin, my neighbor, I would fight very hard. You can't force anybody to do nothing, of course, but I would fight very hard. Sit your ass down. Okay? Let's go lay back down. Because if you get up talking about where such and such, go lay back down. Now maybe you play into it and be like, don't worry, they fine, they okay. Don't worry about them. But go lay back down. I'm not letting you out this house. I'm not letting you go do all the things. You don't need to go to work. You need to sit down until we can get this together. We need to pray. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not clicking. It's not clicking. So that's what I was expecting, the sisterhood, the circle, all the things. So like if it happened the night before, she just got up like it was a regular day, maybe her neighbors don't know yet. Maybe the landlord lady didn't know yet. But I just don't know. I just don't know. That's where I was expecting the sisterhood. That's where I was expecting support. That's why I was expecting a little more. Even the homeless guy, he knew at some point. At some point, it became clear that he knew. He was speaking in past tense about the daughter, and he said how good she was, this, that, and the other. that morning when he saw her, I don't know who he was gonna raise the red flag to, but red flag, red flag on the play. If he knew that morning, flag on the play. If he knew that morning, why you taking money from this lady? You know she got a baby to bury. Yo drinking, yo whatever. Give her a month. You know what I'm saying? At least a week. Come on, give her some time. Let her bury her baby. Let her get her bearings together, and then you can start begging again. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's that consideration, that support? I guess you could say. At the school, I think I was most disappointed with that teacher slash principal, whoever she was, because she looks at the lady crazy, doesn't say anything. Like, and before you know what's going on, I was like, damn, why she? She was the first red flag in hindsight. I was like, damn, the teacher got all kind of a stank attitude. The teacher's not feeling none of it, but um. she also should have been the first one to reach out to that lady. Okay. You got her cell phone number. Well, who is her emergency contact? Because you know something is not right. Because apparently she knew that the little girl. Well, wait a minute. Did she know Bobby? Hmm. So maybe the teacher principal lady didn't know at that point that the little girl had passed away. Maybe she didn't know. But even if you don't know, you see weird activity from her mother. So you're familiar with the family, familiar with the whatever. You see the weird activity of her dropping no one off at school, dropping someone quote unquote off, and no one is there. Red flag, whether her child is dead or alive. I would be concerned if, okay, let's say the child is alive, you dropping somebody out. Where your child at, girl? Where is your child? Where is the child? Is something wrong? That's the red. Either way, even if you don't know, it's a red flag. Okay, red flag. Um, who the principal calls? I don't know. In case of an emergency, who is that person? Probably her mother, Jania's mother. Call grandma. Hey, is everything okay? Maybe even reach out to Janaya. Is everything okay? So that when she tells, we like I said, we don't know if she knows or not. Mm, interesting. She was suspicious though, but when she came back up to that school, if that part was reality and not fictionalized in her mind, fantasy in her mind, when she came back up to the school, red flag. Okay, girl, what's going on? You here again? Okay, because at that point, you might be trespassing. If your child not here, what are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? I feel like overall, Tyler missed the mark on the sisterhood element of it. I guess the support element of it. Because there are, I guess, scenarios where somebody might not have anyone. There's no one there to catch this stuff. There's no one there to, you know, throw up that red flag. But I feel like in Jania's case, there were a few people that were there to catch the red flag. And it's going to start with her mama. Okay? It's going to start with her mother. By the, if the police and them knew her daughter was gone, they told Nicole all the things, then yeah, it's going to start with her mother. And I don't know where her mother, I don't know if her mother is not in the same city as her or what, but her mom should have been the first one down there at that bank. Girl, get your ass. Come on, let's go. And so even in earlier when I couldn't, like, what is her diagnosis? What is her issue? What, we can't just say snap, that she snapped. We can't just say that it was the final straw. What is a diagnosis? Temporary insanity? Did she already have mental health issues? What is it? Um, I do commend Tyler because it's something that we need to address in our community, how mental health doesn't always have, well, mental illness. Let me clarify that. Mental illness doesn't always have a look. We have so many functioning addicts and functioning this, that, and the other. You have people that are functioning with mental health issues. I live in, well, with mental illness. I work in a field where we see people on mood altering drugs all day, every day. And so they're taking this to be high and to be up, and then they can't sleep at night, so they got to take this so they can go to sleep. And then it's a lot of chemically or artificially chemical people just walking around. And I think like some people say that girls when they're on birth control, like they smell different, they such and such different, they whatever with their cycles and their hormones is going to be different because there's an artificial factor there. And when they come off of it, like sometimes it's like a fog lifted off of them or this, that, and the other, and um, and when I say smell, I'm not talking about like any hygienic stuff, because that's the conversation that I do not want to have. But I'm talking about like pheromones and things like that, things that we don't even really have control over that affect us in the wild or in the mating, the mating call of it all. But what was her diagnosis? I think if Tyler would have talked about that, it would have been helpful. Did they take her to jail? Did they take her to an institution? What was the solution? Because from what we saw, it looks like the solution was jail. And I think in her case, if she killed that boss, then I guess you have to have consequences for your actions. But also, she needs help. She needs help. So I know a lot of people talk about mental health, mental health, mental health. I think we gotta make clear definitions of what mental health is and what mental illness is. So if you have a brain, you got emotions and all the things. You have the mental, if you're a human, I'm guessing. Mental health is something that we all can deal with. So you want to be mentally healthy, just like you want to be physically healthy. So mental health is more of the general aspect of it, okay? But mental illness, okay, just like physical illness is where you need treatment, you need help, you need the added layer of whatever it is. So I know I saw a video where a lady, something happened with her mother. I think her mother might have snapped to the child, find a straw. And she was like, "Oh no, she got mental health. She got mental health. She been had mental health." She didn't say, she was using it out of context. She didn't say she has mental illness or mental health issues. She was saying she had mental health. And in my head, I'm like, well, everybody has mental health. If you have a brain and you have, you know, the things, then you have mental health. Everybody doesn't per se have mental illness. And even if you want to say somebody's angry or they're this, that, and the other, maybe no one has mental illness all the time. Okay. So even if you have, maybe you got anger issues, you got this, that, and the other, blah, 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 you know, they're just levels to it. Okay. So mental health is something that we all have. Mental wellness, like making sure that we are maybe meditating, reading, positive affirmations, doing the things that we need to do to stay healthy mentally. That's something everybody can do, should do, will benefit from. But everybody doesn't necessarily have mental illness and need extra treatment. And I think in the Black community, especially, mental health is kind of pushed to the back burner because we love everybody to a degree. We gonna love you whether you're crazy or not, as long as you're not like violent and doing all the things, then in a black family you could probably get support. You might not necessarily get the support that you need, okay? Because you're just going to be labeled as crazy, or that's just what they do, or whatever. But you still would get the help. I think about how people have family members that are, maybe let's use autism before autism was like widely whatever. You might have a family member, they just different, okay? And we gonna accept them as they are, okay? So that person is gonna be dressed, they're gonna be well fed, they're gonna be all the things, they're gonna get their Christmas gifts on Christmas, all the things, but maybe we're not addressing that. When you look back at things that people say come with autism, like they might be nonverbal, they might do the stimming and all the things, but you know, it doesn't get addressed. Do we ever get them speech therapy? You know what I'm saying? Now they have the options. I don't have the technical terms for it, but it's like a picture book, and they, can point to the things and they have some of this technology, yes, but I think in some settings, like that person is just going to be taking care of the basic necessities, and the issue may not be addressed per se. So in straw, I think it's overall a step in the right direction, because if it doesn't do anything else, it has gotten the conversation started. You know what I'm saying? And I know people who have quote unquote snapped, and then nobody has robbed a bank that I know of, or done some of the things that Janaya has done in the movie. But I feel like any, I think when you cussing your kids out, when you beating their ass, when you such and such, so that's a form of snapping. That's a form of your last straw. And I'm not saying be a gentle parent. It's that's the only way to go. But we just gotta call a spade, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying gentle parenting practices. That's the best thing. That's not what we're here for today. But I think we all have been on the verge of the last straw, or the straw, it was the last straw. It is what it is. We see it so much now, especially because everything is recorded. People are having mental breakdowns in public, and it's being filmed, recorded, and shared to the world, to the masses. I think about an old coworker of mine who used to talk to themselves. He talked out loud to himself though. And I have a current coworker who is on the spectrum, so he has issues. He talks to himself, but he will snap out. He's not in that world dimension, whatever, fully. Because even when he's talking or doing the things, you say, "Hey, such and such," he's gonna say, "Hey, how are you today?" So it's like, and it's not like you interrupting his conversation. You get what I'm saying? He's not like, "Girl, I'm talking." It's not that. That's not the vibe of it at all. He will be talking or mumbling or making noises and sounds. You say, "Hey," you ask him how he doing, how is that? He's going to answer. And then he goes back to what he was doing. But he's fully aware of what's going on, right here in front of him. But he also got a whole nother party over there too. You know what I'm saying? He multitasking. He entertaining everybody. But I had a old coworker. He was actually a manager who talked to himself out loud. And he was very similar to this other guy, but we didn't, nobody addressed that first guy. And because he was a manager, because he was a husband and a father, high functioning, I don't think it ever truly was addressed like on the workforce front. And maybe it doesn't have to be addressed. I don't know, because he did his job He was able to communicate. He was all the things. And actually, I didn't even realize, it took a minute for me to realize what was going on with him. And you know how you think something is just you? Like, am I the only one? Because it's not addressed. It's like, wait, he's talking, he's still talking. Or, in his situation, I used to be like, huh? Thinking that he was talking to me, girl, he's not talking to you. He is busy right now. Okay? Busy. Leave him alone. But, yeah. So it's like, is that mental illness? Is that a disorder? Is it, we know it's off the beaten path. So I hate to, it's some kind of illness. It's not the norm. It's not what you see every day. Most people, the conversations that you have are in your head. And I think like we all have those conversations, but sometimes I guess you got to get out. And the interesting thing is like the conversations that I'm thinking everybody has in their heads, based off like TV when they be doing the things and all stuff. It's like, oh, them cute shoes, or don't fall, watch still, what's that smell, or um, oh, something on sale. Ooh. Or I should tell such and such that's on sale. I gotta call them, So you don't necessarily say it out loud. But if I see something on sale and no one's with me, like to tell, I don't need to tell the random lady that's walking on the aisle with me. Oh, I should tell my sister these are on sale. She likes them. In my head, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to call my sister. She would probably appreciate that because they on sale. If you know it's her favorite, let's say her favorite cookies or something. Oh, they on sale. Look at that. Buy one, get one free, or 50% off, or whatever they are. I gotta let them know. That's in your head. The conversations that my old coworker and my current coworker have are not like that. They are, the old coworker, he used to talk about baseball. And not like, this is baseball season. Not like, did you see the Braves game last night? Not like that. It's just like, batting average. It's just like rambling. That's what it really is. Just rambling. Just, I don't know. Maybe they having the same conversation that I'm having with myself, but times 10. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got an opinion. And I don't even know for sure if that's like multiple personality disorder or anything like that. We need the book. There's a book. Oh my God. It's like DSV-5 or DMS-5. I'll look it up and put it on the screen for the video. It's a medical diagnosis book for all. I don't know if it's all the mental diagnosis or all the medical diagnosis, period. But I know at one point it was on like volume 5. It could be a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by now, but I'm gonna get the name of the book. And it's almost like if you check all these boxes, then you have this, and if you check this, then you have that sort of thing. But yeah, my point is that I'm glad that the conversation around mental health in our community is being brought up. I wish that Tyler would have given us more insight on what happened afterwards to like resolve it. Because, people will get on medication and, everything gets leveled out, those hormones and levels get together and they're able to function properly. But there's also a thing of wanting to wean off medications, kind of like the birth control. Sometimes girls like, I've been on birth control for 20 years, maybe off and on. Maybe you were able to have your kids, no issues, all the things. You got back on birth control so you wouldn't have more or unplanned, your family's finished, that type of thing. And you look up, you're 40, 50 years old, and it's like, I've been on birth control for 20 years. Who am I without the birth control? You know what I'm saying? Um, so people will phase off medications. You see it with like Adderall and stimulants. It's like, I've been on this since I was 5. Now I'm 25. do I, need medication? And the way insurance is set up, they don't want to pay for a lot of the stimulants, especially after a certain age. We have these medications that's for ADHD, and the way pharmacology and things are set up, and insurance, that's what it is, insurance probably. ADHD is kind of like a kid's disorder. You're supposed to grow out of it. You're supposed to learn to function with it or around it or whatever and get to be an adult and not need that medicine no more. It's almost like when you're not on your parents' insurance or like government insurance, Medicaid, they don't want to, when you get to that little in between phase where you might not have insurance or you got the lowest level of insurance you can have, almost like liability insurance for cars. You just got enough insurance to say you got insurance. They don't want to pay for it. Some of those ADHD medicines after 21, it's a hassle to get them paid for, um, but a lot of people, back to that's what we're talking about, weaning off medications, and it's not just like mental stuff. I've seen people do it for like seizure medications. Um, Usually, if you are diabetic, depending on the age, diabetic, or if you have high blood pressure, those type of things, usually the goal is to try to get off the medications. You know what I'm saying? So get your blood pressure to a stable level, get your eating right, get your exercise right, all the things, and maybe you can get off that blood pressure medicine, get off that diabetes medicine, and I just wonder when people get off these like mood altering or mood enhancing medications or the psychedelics of it all, what's the consequences in that case? You know what I'm saying? I think with something like a blood pressure, it's easy, if you're monitoring the situation, it's easy to fix by going back on the medication. A lot of these medications, they tell you not to stop, just drop off. Don't just stop taking it. You gotta like taper off. Like if you're taking two a day, we'll take you down to 1.5 a day. Then you'll go down to one a day. Then you'll go down to half a day. Depending on what it is, you might have to go down to a quarter of a tablet a day. You gotta wane off these things. You can't just stop cold turkey. That's the word I'm looking for. You can't stop cold turkey. So I just wonder how Janaya was handled. Who's advocating for Janaya? Who's advocating for her? She don't have a strong support system already. Is Nicole advocating for her? Is she the one who's checking up on her, making sure she's doing the things? Is her mom, her sister, are now that they see, hey, your family member needs you, are they activated? Are they there? Are they going to push, hey, just hospitalize her? Okay. I'd rather you be hospitalized well, I think I'd rather you be hospitalized than in jail for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? It seems like one would be better than the other, but they both are. I see how they both could be like a form of jail, or somebody feel like they being held if they were used to being, independent. But she also got to have consequences for her actions. But who's advocating for her? Who's going to be there for her to help her set up her new everything? You know what I'm saying? Are her mom and her sister activated? Is Tiana Taylor's character, if she was being genuine with I see you, I understand you, is she going to see that as her mother, sister? Is she going to be who her mother needed when she got quote unquote evicted and things when she was younger for that lady, for Janaya? I don't know. I just wonder. I wonder if we truly saw sisterhood in the movie. And maybe sisterhood, I've said it a few times, maybe it's not sisterhood, it's just like the support system that you need. We never talk about where baby girl's father is. Where is he? Where is he? The thing is, I'm a single parent with a very absentee, non-custodial parent. He is the father on paper, child support parent. hey, if something like that happened or an emergency happened with my son, I probably wouldn't. It would probably take me a minute to contact him too. I technically, I'm telling all my business. I don't know if I would be able to contact him. You see what I'm saying? I would have to go through a lot of layers to contact him if there was an emergency with our child. So I'm not saying that the father should, this, that, and the other, but if Janiyah was already a little crazy before the daughter, did he know she was crazy? So you having a baby with a crazy person, you was willing to sleep with her, you got her pregnant, and you're gonna leave that baby with a crazy person. Or now that your daughter is gone, like, I don't that's another bag of worms. I don't want to talk about it. But we also gotta support single mothers a little bit more. A little bit more. Um, I think as a single mother, you put on a cape of making it happen despite whatever else is going on. It's like I'm not using somebody else's lack of participation, involvement, money, whatever, stop me from being the best mother I can be and stop me from giving my child like the best life experiences. I know that to be true for sure. It's not easy. Okay. Single parenthood. This is mother or father. Single parenthood is not easy, and any money. This is any money that someone is giving out of their paycheck that they before they even see it, it's not making that significant of a difference. That it's making the job easier. It doesn't make waking up overnight, going to the hospital overnight, going on field trips, trying to participate, trying to show up, taking off work, doing this and that, going to the birthday parties, all the things. It doesn't make any of that easier just because you got, a little more change in the bank. It don't hurt. You now at least you put some gas in the car. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta worry about gas. But you still gotta show up and be there and do the things. But again, another subject for another day. But let's support if there's a lesson to be learned here. Let's help out single parents a little more. Let's make sure we're doing our part as the village. And the thing is, single parents can help single parents. I'm a part of other people's villages as well. And it's like you gotta, kind of water, y'all help each other. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a single mother, but that doesn't mean that I can't be a part of someone else's village, whether they are a single mother or a single parent or not. You know what I'm saying? It might be a college student. I have younger cousins who, guidance, food, little change. You know what I'm saying? Help a sister out, and in return, you gotta have that barter system. Hey, can you babysit? I'm going out of town. I'm trying to have a hot girl weekend. You know what I'm saying? Can you babysit? Can you, you know? Pick somebody up from school? Can you do something while I work on it? It's all a bartering support system type thing. I think we got to make sure we get back to what I believe to be our roots of supporting one another. And this movie is an example of that, of how we need to get back to just supporting people. There are red flags. And what can you do to help it maybe be a yellow flag instead of red? Okay. So that was my main takeaway from the movie. I get it, but I don't know if he exactly hit the mark. And the thing is, when you talk about sisterhood, Tyler's not a sister. Okay? He can be adjacent, he can be, have plenty of female friends and all the things, but if he had a female writer in there, maybe someone who had a mother experience some things, or maybe a mother herself who has experienced some things, it would have helped the brother out. Okay? He could have gave us a different, you know, a little bit more. Something that we understood. But to finish, I do want to say that a lot of people like the movie for whatever reasons that they like the movie. And I don't dislike the movie in general. I just think he missed the mark. If sisterhood support all the things for mental health, if that's what he was going for. because I actually watched the movie twice, and it's something that I would watch again. It's not one that's just I'm probably not gonna go looking for it, but if it's on, I'm not gonna be like, turn from this. One won't say this, boo. Ain't gonna be nothing crazy like that. But what I will say is Tyler wearing all these hats, he do need some help though. He needs some help. That movie, this is a critique. We're going left, okay? We're going left. We're going left, but it is right, okay? Why did it go from day to night so fast? Why did it go from day to night so fast? This is the little stuff about Tyler that folks be talking about. She went in there, it was daytime, and it was night 5 minutes later. Okay? She went in there, they was closed. Nobody was in the bank. We can't let nobody else in because we closed. They didn't show if there were already people in there. And those people she would have been behind them. She wouldn't have been in front of them. How did a line of people end up behind her if they were already closed? So continuity from Tyler is what I need. Like, make it make sense. Come on. And this is something that I complain about from authors of these urban fiction books, especially when they be trying to pipe them out so fast. And they telling you this happened, and then it's night, and then it's day, and then it's day, and then it's night, and then I'm a stripper, but I'm classy out. It's too much. It's too much. So also, it was raining. It rained. Now, Atlanta, Georgia, the South, we do have them summer thunderstorms. And this year in particular, it's been a rainy spring wrapped up on a really rainy note, okay? Lots and lots of rain. And it can start raining and it stops and then it starts again and then it does do that. But the way he presented that rain in this movie, it just rained for the purpose of the accident and the purpose of having her stuff be, wet and destroyed outside. I wouldn't want it just to add to everything that could go wrong is going wrong. If my stuff outside and I didn't put it there, I wasn't expecting it to be there. I don't care if it's raining or not. It's still gonna be the most tragic thing ever. You see what I'm saying? Most tragic. So it's like we didn't necessarily need the rain. Construction in Atlanta and Georgia on the highway, most highways, like I've it's gonna be some construction, okay? It's gonna be a weird section. That we don't need rain to have that though. And the way people drive, they scared. Oh, calm, slow down. People going fast, all the things. We can still have the fender bender, the accident, and things like that without necessarily this rain. And that's just convenient. Like at least maybe have a weather. He could have fixed that by having a weather report on the radio or maybe before she left on the news about inclement weather being a part of the day. If that would have happened, I would have left it alone. So when it went back and be like, hey, they said it was gonna rain. And when it rained, all this stuff happened. But it seemed like it just rained just because. And then also, someone who I watched was like, how is a 40-something-year-old woman named Janaya? Was she the first Janaya? And that was so funny to me because Janaya, to me, seems like a very youthful name. So Janaya is for somebody maybe 25 and under. That's where you got the like Amayas, Anaya, Janaya, Takayas, the this, the that, the that. Now I'm sure there's a 40-something-year-old Janaya now. Like, what is you talking about, girl? I'm Janaya. But that lady said that. I was like, how is she Janaya? That's not a And now I kind of feel the same way. How is she Janaya? Can we get a age appropriate name? The lady named Nicole, age appropriate, okay? If she got a 16-year-old and that's Nicole. Nicole, Nicole, the Keishas, the Britneys, them the auntie names now. That's the version it's becoming, or it's gonna grow into the version of, like the Ethels, the Esthers, the Freddie Lou and all the things. Fannie Mae, those names. Like them the old them is the grandma and them is the old auntie, them the great auntie names, okay? But now you got the Nicoles, the Keishas. I know I miss Keisha, okay? I know I miss Keisha. Even the Shaniquas and the things like that. Now they are becoming, those are the auntie names. And Janaya just kind of ain't an auntie name. And then you got names like mine that are kind of like neutral. They just across the whatever. But for my time frame, there were a lot of Laurens. And there's still, Lawrence is just kind of, I can say, I'm gonna call it a classic name. But there was a time when I would think like a Ashley or Brittany was a classic name. But as, the the alpha generation alphas and the generation betas, you're probably gonna see less of those names. And all things come back around. They'll come back around probably at some point because they gonna be naming the kids after they grandmas and they aunties. But that's how you get the younger people now with these Grace and this, that, and the other. I don't think I know a Grace my age, but I know older Graces and I know younger Graces, like little kids, Gracie and all the things. So her name being Janiyah was funny. And then to finish this video up, my rant about Tessa. I think her name was Tessa. Tessa, girl, go away. Go away, go away, go away. You were so annoying during this movie. So annoying. First of all, you a snitch, a rat, or whatever. And I can relate a little bit because I would be trying to get the police all the information I could, also if I was in her shoes. But she just wasn't consistent for me, and I don't like that. You so scared that you giving her all the money, you this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. Janiyah still had the gun. So at first I was gonna be like, well, a gun in your face, you just at that point, however many hours they were in, she still had the gun. So you get old now you getting smart. Now you done found some kind of backbone that you didn't have earlier. And you now you ain't scared no more. You talking back. You so ready to go. You this, you that. And I'm just like, why she should have been the first one to run up out of there. I'm scared. This, that, and the other. What's Janiyah gonna do? Shoot you in the back? Like, you're gonna have to catch me, girl, because I'm finna go. I'm finna try. I'm finna try. Um, yeah, so her character was just really super annoying. There were other annoying characters, other annoying factors, all the things, but you need that for the movie. And so, like I said, sisterhood, which I hear like the people talking about, the actors talking about, oh, it's about sisterhood and this, that, and the other. Mm, 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 mm. Just have to take their word for it. And then I don't know. This is just petty stuff right now. Taraji's eyebrows is getting on my nerves. I think Taraji actually overacted in some cases. Um, why was she cold? She needed a jacket, but she was like sweating. It's a cold sweat, like a fever. Like I was so confused. Those are the things that just don't be adding up. And it's like you needed to be cold so that Sherry Shepherd's character could take you to the other room so she could give you quote unquote the jacket, so you could see the picture of her family, so you could this, that, and the other. So it's meant for the story to go, but it's like I know Taraji said she recorded her parts in 4 days. Sherry said hers was about 6. Um, but I'm like, is Tyler writing the story in a week too? Like you write this in a week, and it's like you recording and filming the first version. There's no editing. There's no the first draft. He go with the first draft. That's it. The end. Come on, let's go. Let's go record it. And for Taraji, who is a single mother, Sherry, who is a single mother, are his friends to hold him accountable? Like, are they not questioning just a little bit? Like, hey, my boy. Okay, so from what I know or from what I have experienced or what I've seen, I don't know if this, that, and the other. And even like I said, I'm sure there are cases where people are so isolated or so whatever that maybe they slip through the cracks. And maybe that's what the story is about. But we got too much information. She has a mother. She has a sister. Um, she got a coworker that was caring and concerned. The principal lady was concerned. She was given the red flags of being thrown. but nobody was, they was just dropping them and letting them sit there. They was being ignored, but you know, and I just wonder if his friends are not holding him accountable. A, because he's paying them, okay, being paid to shut up, record it, and go, let it go. But I was just like, mm, I don't know if this makes sense, Tyler, Tyler, Tyler. Because when you read the script, you gotta read the whole thing. And I know sometimes, when you see somebody else do something, you're just amazed. It's something maybe you can't do. Like if I've never finished the story, you got this from front to back, from beginning to end. You got the beginning, middle, end. Oh, you did that. Maybe you don't want to call out, but or say, oh, you don't want to throw the asterisk in there. I don't know. I don't know. But if you made it this far, because we are our end, friend. If you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, listening to my mini rant of sorts. Please like, follow, and maybe leave a cute little purple heart down in the comment section so that I know that you were here. Here on this channel, we do book reviews and more for the culture. Today's video falls into the category of and more. Because instead of being caught up in the book, I was caught up in this movie just a tad, just a tad. But now back to reading I go. And I wish you happy reading. I will see you next time. Well, you guys will hear from me next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.